Bren Ritsuno here. Today I wanted to talk about the significance of having to fight. Uh, this is because I'm not just talking about really fight to the people, against people or anything. It's just any sort of the obstacle that we encounter, we really have to fight. Otherwise, we cannot overcome. There's just some ways to actually have to go kind of sideways and then go around and all these maneuvers you can make, like a little, in a sense, kind of sneaking around. That could be a great strategy, but when it comes to the shove, you really have to fight for get what you want. Otherwise, like the success has so many roadblocks along the way that if you are not ready to fight, and if you not keep fighting, if you, let's say, give up in some critical moment, you will never we can never achieve something significant. So for me, it's like you know like physical fight is in a sense easy, right? Like if you hit somebody, or it's like about the very immature things, like we do it as a kid, like sometimes, and somebody cry, or somebody, you kind of clearly see who lost or who won, but oftentimes it's not that clear in the real world, and how much getting knocked down is necessary to say, hey, this is good enough, and I back off, or you just kind of keep going. What is this demarcation between the time to pull back or time to keep going, like keep fighting? So for me, this type of like the subtlety wasn't really clear. So I knew that then, like, giving up suck, right? Like, feeling of defeat is not that great. So I kind of kept going, like when I was a kid, and quite confrontational in a sense. But then, there is a regulations and a rules, right? And if you, of course, like if you are like not quite obedient, in the sense that if something doesn't quite make sense, or you kind of do your own thing, and then you violate some kind of rule, and then you get scolded by your teachers, or your parents or something. If so, what happened is, like, when I did it too much or whatever, even if it's not really, I wasn't really sure what I did quite wrong. Oftentimes I was wrong, but if the authority or some sort of the thing said no, then I stop, because I don't want to get like be in trouble or get punished, or some sort of like one of unnecessarily. I don't want to get scared. But then this is more like a external reason that I don't want to. I need to stop, right? Because it's not like I understood why I didn't. I need to actually stop. So this. So I didn't quite know that when to really keep going, or fight, and then keep fighting, or when to stop. It's more like I stop when I felt like certain amount of like pressure is up in my psyche, like, wow, I don't want to feel this much, then I kind of quit. And so it's almost like a feeling based. I didn't have that metric, like when I should keep fighting or not. And the problem that I encounter is, it's kind of about, and so I became a little more like pain averse, and then this is actually not good. Some people might think like avoiding pain is is a natural process and it's good, but then it's actually not good for human psyche, especially. I'm not talking about it just try to get into trouble for the sake of trouble, but it is crucial that you challenge yourself, and then a certain amount of mental pain is necessary. Because when you feel the mental pain, you are actually trying to solve, right, or some difficult problems. And then that's where really the breakthrough reside. So if you quit, just like I did, it's like getting too much, and they say, I can't take it. I'm over it, or something along the line. And then first, like you're not gonna be able to achieve something great or even good, and then you will. So I was start like picking like sort of easy way, like easy path in a sense. I thought I was picking quite challenging path, but then when I look back, it's quite easy because somebody else has already done it, or it's not quite considered really difficult problems. So my really the chance was already limited from the start, because you want to pick something a little quite difficult, and your reward is a lot more. So if you pick the easy ones, then your reward is small. That type of things. But some of the time I realize that when it comes to certain emergencies, like I kind of feel really energized. Like emergency in a sense that if you don't take care of this, it's going to get a lot worse, and then it's going to be a huge disaster that we don't want to deal with. That type of emergency. Okay. And what I notice is like when I'm pushed back against the wall, or like edge of the cliff, so to speak, since I have no option but to take in all the pain and then just keep moving forward. And it's a funny thing happened. Every time I did this in any situation, I could overcome these obstacles, and no exceptions. And clearly I avoid this type of situation, so it didn't quite happen quite frequently. But then whenever it happened in some form or manner, I always overcame in different way to do it. So I believe like that the humans really has that capacity. Once you are put in that place, it's almost like it was your destiny to fix it. So I realize that fighting is critical. And if something is significantly important for you, like whatever the project or something, you have you must have the mentality that you never quit until you get what you want, or in a way, of course, like you as you progress, you learn more, and then you know what works, what not, and then the final results is going to be different. But then you will know when if you quit that time, you are the loser, or if you don't quit, and then if you get to certain line, you pass a certain line, you're going to be a success. You cannot stop fighting. You just have to keep going, no matter how long it takes, and then intensity has to be there. Fight means it's not just like kind of hanging out and then kind of be safe and all that jazz. It's you got to go all in. Like safe and the fight is not really go along together. Sometimes you just have to take chance, but smartly. Means it's like you gotta like you're not working by yourself. Like you're probably working or dealing with other people, or institution or whatever. So you have to be able to pull some strings. Sometimes you got to pull back. So what I mean by that is you have to fight to win a war, not battles. Battles sometimes you can lose strategically, or it's okay to lose as long as you keep your resources intact. So you got to use some kind of strategy, but you got to fight. The difficulty of this like a fighting is really knowing when to keep fighting or when to quit. One of the things you never want to quit is when you get disappointed or you get frustrated or when your feeling is that level of like something that you encounter and then you get frustrated and you quit. That's a completely loser's mindset. You're never gonna win of this kind of stuff. So when you see the obstacle or when you see the difficulty, as long as this is something that still relevant to your, so you have to have a kind of the vision, right? Like what you want. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything here. But then, as long as you have some goal, in the beginning, just find whatever. It doesn't matter. Like don't pick too difficult. But then your interest and then your passion a little aligned. Just go for it. There's something maybe possible you can make money or it's okay. I mean, get experience, but in any case you really have to have that goal and then you go for it, and then you're gonna have a lot of like things to learn, obstacle, mistakes, things not working on it, etc. And then each time you're gonna have a disappointment, frustration, or whatever. But then you know that this is overcoming is going towards your goal, right? Then you cannot quit. That's not the time you're gonna quit. Don't quit that time. And how about the rejection or like continuous the failures? Do you think you should quit if you get, first of all, criticism? I mean, you are the only one probably know more about your project. So no matter who said like complain about what you do or anything, as long as you know but that's the important thing. You have to be honest about your assessment. Okay, as long as you know that you're going somewhere, you never quit just because somebody else's criticism, or even your internal criticism, like maybe this. But as long as you have a data, and then you can analyze it, and then there might be some other way to go for it. Be strategic, but then don't quit. How about like no matter how many times, right? Like you do. Should you quit? Really the answer is, as long as whatever you do, right, is not violating the law of physics, you should never quit. So what does that mean is like sometimes people do something that are completely out of fantasy land, right? Means it's like this is not possibly according to the law of nature. Then you should pivot and then find the right type of path to get to from A to B, or you should devise your goal a little bit to at least you can, no matter how difficult it is, at least you can get there in a realistic manner. I mean, realistic means it's like very, very not really low hanging fruit, but it's only the restriction is the law of physics. Otherwise, don't quit. But so like a famous story about Edison, right? I mean, he's like what, 10,000 times he failed, but then he he didn't quit 10,000 times. It's quite a lot of times to do one thing. So make sure that things takes time. So if you're kind of the guy, let's say, oh, I'm sending like 100 resumes and then nobody responded to me or whatever, or oh, I tried to do it like for a couple of weeks, but then you produce a result probably 10 times. That's not enough. It's 10 times. You got to do it like 100,000 times really for something to actually keep going. It's like even the practicing guitar or whatever, right? It just takes so much time. Like you got to do it every day, maybe for a couple of years, whatever. So technically most of the things you can quit if you really wanted to achieve something. At least get to the goal and then say so when to pivot or when to quit. It's generally speaking like you really need to have the better option, or you realize that this is not really match with your talent. Sometimes you have to really get in or experience. Some people can like respond, like recognize that right away and then say, this is not for me, and then they quit. So they don't waste time. But some people are pretty stubborn, maybe some kind of fantasy idea that I could be like him or whatever. It's not like coming from your being, but more like somebody's idea. And then you might kind of stick to that type of behavior for a long time. But as soon as you realize that's not really your talent or something you're good at, then you should really pivot. But then that's only Or like you're gonna have another opportunity that's so big, like once in a lifetime almost, right? Like let's say internet is popping up, right? And then you're doing something else. But then that things is like such a span is like probably like a few months to like a couple of years that you have to establish yourself within those fields that you can pivot, you can quit. I mean, like if this things happen to work out, you can always come back, but then you got to let that go and then move here. So those kind of stuff you can actually quit and then pivot, but then you have to have a far better options. Now a lot of people think, oh, that's kind of too extreme, right? I mean, like, oh, like there is almost like a feel of like die trying, that type of kind of mentality, right? And of course, like a balance is important, right? Critical. Like you can't always fight. Unless you're a certain type of personality. But generally speaking, like people get used to it and people get stronger the more you push. And then as long as you're healthy, you're not gonna die, really. You sleep well and eat well, exercise well. You seriously, like even if you encounter a lot of disappointing stuff, you're not gonna die. Actually, you're gonna get stronger and you're gonna get better. So, yeah, and then for a certain time, it is critical. Like whatever they like, maybe early teens or 20s or whatever the time comes, you really have to put all your soul into fighting, whatever it is. And then if you miss that opportunity might not come for another 10 years or 15 years. And then by then, since you didn't really take advantage of it, and then your kind of attitude is like kind of bad, next time you comes, the possibility that you can take off is pretty low. Okay. So, well, if you try your best and then it somehow didn't turn out well, but the next things comes in, you are ready. Okay, because you learn all this and then you kept that like probably 5 more years, whatever, you didn't quit. You just kept going in some different direction, hopefully or possibly, or you kept going. And and then another opportunity comes, you should be able to take advantage. So don't quit. it's really no point to really live life in kind of mediocre manner, right? I mean, that's really our default. It's nothing really that much to proud of, really. If that's like a balance and all that stuff, that's really a human default. So yeah, just keep trying. That's so important. Now, how about the like a lot of obstacles like bureaucratic or laws or regulations? Uh, so if you were doing something, if you really want to challenge yourself, like pursue your goals, those things are just suggestions, really. These are somebody else's creative for some other reasons. I mean, if somebody, of course, like you don't do anything unethical or cheating or anything, right? But then you can do this, you can do that, or whatever. If you follow along all these things blindly, then you'll never get anywhere. You always have to question. Like everybody said, okay, you can do it, you can do it, but then there is always a spirit behind the why, and if that why is not applicable to what you're doing, then ignore it, really. And if somebody comes at you and then say, hey, you shouldn't have done it or something, and then you show them, yeah, but then this way I could accomplish a lot more, and then show with the result, and then that's good enough. And then the law, yeah, it's difficult. Don't get into trouble with the law, but then some law are actually pretty stupid. So, but then respect the law. Means it's like, yeah, do it in a very subtle way. Follow the law. Yeah, yeah. Don't mess with the law. But if something you really don't like it or whatever, you know just do it in the basement. No, no one can, and then give the result, and then maybe with the result you can convince some powerful people or like a Congress or whatever to change the law for your own sake. And that's the way like the fighter works. You're not gonna stop just because of somebody else says so. How about like you're dealing with like a really big competition, like organization? Yeah. So the problem is like when some companies or like people with the powerful people, they have their own set of problems. Things get really slow because it's really big, and then there are so many people working there that the decision is very slow, and that type of things. Of course, like so don't think you can actually fight against this kind of behemoth. What you really need is to find your niche. Means like a really small region that you can do it by a few people, like a one or two people. Ideally, like teammate or something, like a one, or like, you don't need like a three or four, just a couple, and then dominate that small niche. And then once you do that, you just scale it like hell. Okay, that's the general principle of like fighting against that like more powerful things, and then you become bigger and bigger, and then you have a similar set of problems, but then that's another thing that you can actually keep learning and adjust. So fear of those kind of messing things up, ridicule, rejection, and those definitely not right. It's like you never let this type of like I mean external things or like necessarily rejections, means it's like or messing things up, right? I mean, when you start something new, you always have to fumble. You gotta learn. You gotta mess things up. So just part of it. Criticism, who cares? It's other people's opinions. That's your life. You gotta keep going. At the end of the day, like, oh, why do I bother? Like, why do I have to bother, right? Like, you really have to think like we all die, you know, like one day we'll be dead, and time is tight. Um, there is a limit, and you know, if you have something that you need to accomplish, or you want to feel like, don't be a spectator in life, right? That's the really the things like really think about before you die, and then like just imagine on the deathbed, can you really say that you actually live your life? I'm not sure most people can say, yeah, I did, because they didn't fight. They didn't push their limitation. They didn't know where they can, how possible they can accomplish. They didn't give themselves chance. Fighting is to give yourself really the chance to fly, chance to do a lot of things. And if you can't, everybody's role in or talent in his life is different. Everybody not it does. It's I'm not saying that you're gonna be Bill Gates or whoever, right? But what I'm saying is like your role, you should do the very best. Sometimes you could be a supportive role. That's fine, but then do your best. Really, that's the thing about the fighting. And then as a team, as a human being, if you belong to this type of team, those are the people that you want to work with, right? Everybody's like have a different roles, but then they're all A games, from supportive role to a lead role to whatever. So that's the idea of fulfilling your talent, really. So it might take seriously like years. I mean, this kind of fighting takes a long time. So don't get burned out. Pace it. Have fun when you can, but then don't chase your fun, but just chase your purpose and mission. And no more fear or hesitation. Definitely not complacency or inaction. You really have to do something, and don't let any of these stop you from reaching your goals. And by keep fighting and have those metrics, you'll win at the end of the day. Hi, thank you for watching. Please write down your idea in the comment section below to help each other. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit bell button to be notified a new video. See you next time.